told you that I want to run away.
Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nia. If you're new, welcome. Nice to meet you. Make sure to subscribe and join the family. Today I'm going to be walking you guys through all of the drawings that I did for the first section of the Milan Art Institute online mastery program. It was the first part of the course and I have now completed that section. So I'm just going to go through everything that I did and talk about what I learned, what I liked, what I didn't like, the process, just anything that comes to mind really. And this is all my personal thoughts on my own personal journey. So we have this shoe here. This was a shoe that I drew. It's got a bit of extra bits on there for some reason. And this was the first time me using a proportion tool. And it took me a good while, maybe 2 hours or something, to get the proportions correct. I had to keep rubbing things out and trying it again, but I feel like over time I really got better at using this proportion tool. I can use it so well now and it doesn't take me half as long as it did when I first started this. I did in the first week. I used the proportion tool after I had did it with just using a pencil, and I was holding the pencil out and trying to measure as I was drawing my own hand, which is never an easy thing. But one of the tips was to, if you get the proportions of the brush right, then you can get the proportions of your hand more accurate. I feel like it's still not as accurate as I would like it to be, but for my first ever time doing something like this, I think it looks so good. You can kind of tell it's my hand. Yeah, I was really happy with my first couple of drawings. This is not necessarily all in order, but I did this portrait, which I think looks absolutely horrible. The only thing I like is that ear and the shirt, because it looks the most realistic, but the proportions are completely off. It doesn't look like anything my source. At least it looks like a human, but I don't like the lips and the eyes or the hair really. I guess I was just learning tones and which materials I enjoyed using and things like that. Then I created my own still life, and this I really like. I think it looks really good. I could have added some more darks there, like a lot really dark darks here, just to add a bit more contrast. As you can see, there's not that much contrast. There's only a few bits of extreme darks here and there. It took me a little bit of time to get the proportions correct again, because I was using the measuring tool and all of my objects were from a distance and I was trying to get them all correct. There's a few bits here and there that I'm not too happy with, but overall I think it's a really good piece. This still life is my absolute favorite. It was definitely a turning point. I find drawings a lot easier to do when I have a source that I can compare and measure from, instead of just using my eyes and trying to figure it out that way. And I did a lot of tones and different contrasts in this piece. I tried to make sure that I took those bits that I've figured out from this piece and transferred it over to this, and I think it looks really good. Another thing that we had to do is learn how to draw cardboard boxes, because if you can draw a cardboard box, you can draw pretty much anything representationally. So I just stacked 2 cardboard boxes together, put an object inside one of them, and had to figure out how to do it. Now this was the hardest thing I ever did. It took me about 6 to 8 hours, which is way longer than the time that was recommended to do it. It was recommended to only spend 4 hours on this piece, and it took me around that time just to even get the proportions correct, not necessarily adding all of the details. So I just used a number 5 willow charcoal to do a ground, and then I used the willow charcoal to draw in my proportions, and if anything was incorrect then I would rub it out with my hand and then just go over it again. And then I went in with some darker tones and filled in all of my darks, and then I went in with a rubber and started rubbing out the highlights, and then the lightest highlights I did with white chalk. And I'm happy with how this piece turned out, considering how much time it took me to even get it to this place, because I had started it before, then I rubbed it all out and then changed my composition and tried it again, and it was just truly a struggle, but definitely a triumph at the end. It doesn't look as amazing as I would like it to be now that I'm looking at it from where I am at this point in the course. But from where I was, was the best thing that I had ever drew. Now this piece came in a little bit later on in the course. I chose a statue to draw and then did a little bit of mark making on the sides. I loved this piece so much. I really, truly enjoyed making it. And I ended up turning this into a painting as well. It's just so fun, and I enjoy drawing Greek statues and marble statues and stuff. So yeah, I really liked it. And then I ended up getting one of these to put my rulers in. But yeah, I just really loved making this. It was so much fun, and I definitely want to do it again. Then we started drawing movement pieces. I loved drawing these. It was my favorite because I enjoy drawing the human figure. I enjoy drawing movement, and yeah, it's my favorite thing. What I learned from doing painting is that I don't enjoy painting people that much or doing portraits, but I enjoy drawing people. It's my favorite thing to do, but I don't enjoy drawing from life. So I drew my dad in various poses and various time limits. These two took 10 minutes. That one was like a quick 2-minute, 5-minute thing. These ones were like 2 minutes. These were 1-minute pieces. So you can really tell the difference of how much I was able to put in with the time that I was given for each pose. With the 1-minute ones, at first, I couldn't finish it. And then I got a little bit quicker, just drawing the shapes and then trying to make a figure out of basic shapes. Then I did a longer drawing portrait, which I didn't use the measuring tool, which is why his face is so long. And I've found that when I'm not using a measuring tool or anything like that, I make the proportions so weird with faces, especially drawing from life. It's not my favorite thing to do at all. Then I drew a crowd, which I didn't like. I mean, I would like to do it again and do it really, really well and really put all of my time and effort into it and just really try even harder than I did for this. I like how I can tell what it is, but it's not as defined as I would have liked it to be. But I just was not interested in putting any more time into it. I kind of like how abstract it is, and you can still tell it's a beach. You can't really tell that these are people there in the water, but you can tell that it could be like rocks or something on a beach. Now this one, we had to draw perspectives and things, and I chose this source to draw like buildings going off into the distance. At first, I really didn't enjoy making this because straight lines, rulers and me were not necessarily friends, even though it's kind of ironic that one of my main illustration styles is using rulers, but I'm just not great with drawing straight lines, especially when it's not an abstract. So it took me a little bit of time to get it correct, but then once I did, and then I started seeing how it was forming, I actually really liked it, and I thought this looks really, really cool. I love the grid shape. I like I just really love looking at this. It looks like an architecture kind of thing. I like this piece as it is. I feel like it could be like a cool comic or something. I'd like to paint that in black and just, I don't know, I just really like it. I love looking at these shapes. It's so much fun, but it was definitely something that I had to warm up to as I was drawing it. This piece here is my first realism piece that I drew using a measuring tool and different shades and different pencils and things. Usually when I'm drawing, I don't use the measuring tool, so my portraits don't look as good. But now that I know how to do things properly, this is like the most amazing piece I ever did. I did it in a few sittings, but I spent hours and hours and hours and hours on this piece. You can even see another astronaut inside the helmet. I just think this piece is so good. Yes, there are things that I would like to improve on, like the chin is a bit too small and the lips and the nose is, yeah, those like the only areas that I think could have done with a bit more work. But overall, this was definitely the best piece that I did, and I feel like this was a really massive turning point for me within the course, especially from this piece, knowing that it's not something that I was enjoying, but I continue to push through. And with this piece here, continue to push through, and then look what I was able to create. And that taught me that I know that I can push through things that I don't enjoy and create something really, really great like that. So following on from that other building piece that I made, I also did this one in charcoal. So the other one was just with graphite pencil. This one was with charcoal. I used the same technique where I just did a ground and then drew in my piece with a measuring tool and sometimes with a ruler, which I did not enjoy making this one until I had got everything, all the proportions correct. I'm not overjoyed with doing proportions, but once all of that work is done, then I enjoy doing in all of the filling bits and the highlights and stuff like that. Well, I can enjoy it a little bit. This piece took around 4 hours to do. At this point, I was getting a lot quicker at getting everything down. It's not necessarily that I was trying to rush, but I'm trying to stick within the time limit that was set. And sometimes you're going to have to do art pieces within a short amount of time than you would normally work. So it's good to be able to work at varying speeds and still come out with good quality work. And I do really like this piece. I think it's quite pretty. Definitely could still work on it, but for the time limit that I was given, I think I did really well. And it was also another piece where I was not feeling in the mood to do it, but I was definitely determined to push through. And I feel like that's the kind of mindset that I have for quite a lot of the pieces that I don't enjoy, is that I know that I'm very capable of pushing through regardless of if I'm enjoying it or not. And that's something that I'm proud of because I never used to be like that. Then I did my hand drawings again. This one looks awful because my hand was tired by this point, so I kept on putting it down and then trying to get it correct again. So it looks kind of odd, but this first one is just so good. I think it looks really great, and this was all about foreshortening. So again, here is another foreshortened piece. This is a big piece that I did. I had 3 elements within my source that I had to try and put into one. So I just have this ginormous woman, this honeycomb kind of effect, and then this bridge. Definitely could work on it some more. I could have added some darker darks and just added a lot more contrast. But overall, I do really like it, and I think it looks like one of those movie posters for one of those old-time films, or like, it looks like an Alfred Hitchcock movie cover to me, which I think is so super cool. And The last couple of pieces are all kind of abstract. So first I did this L Theory piece from Milan, and this is when I realized I actually didn't know how to doodle. And it took me so long to be able to create different pieces, because mostly when I'm doodling, I'm only doodling these floral pieces. So I just really had to push myself to try and come up with some different elements. And I still feel like I can work on it so much more and do. I'll try this thing again at some point, because now that I'm getting a little bit better at doodling. But once I did this and I realized I just don't know how to create new things, I really threw myself into research and started sketching and trying to come up with my own doodling style within my sketchbook. So that's definitely something that I'm working on and something that I want to continue to do. But I really like how this looks. It looks like a storybook or something, like, and I try to put in some quotes and little story things here and there. But what I like about it is that it's just one piece, but when you go up to it, there's so many tiny elements that you can see in there. Now that I'm looking at it, I realize I can spend a lot of time doing little tiny details with stuff, but it's only if it's stuff that I enjoy or stuff that I don't have to think about trying to make look good. It's just going with the motions. Then with this piece, I had to listen to a particular song and create something that the song made me feel. And I didn't necessarily enjoy the song that was chosen, so I only listened to it once before just to get a few ideas, and then I listened to it once again to finish this. But once the song had finished, I just listened to my own music as I was finishing it off, because I already had the main elements down, but it just kind of reminded me of like tornadoes or something with horses running and wind and movement and things. So I try to add that there. Don't know really what it looks like. Kind of like it in a strange sort of way, that it reminds me of horses. Like, you can even see a tiny one there. But at the same time, it's just, don't know. I have not really got too many thoughts about it. Then I've got another abstract thing here. I can't remember what I was doing when I made this, but I do have all the vlogs for every single piece that I've drew. So if you want to see the whole process behind everything and the whole thoughts behind everything, then all those vlogs are within my Milan Art Institute online mastery program playlist. So we have this piece here. We have this other abstract piece. I believe this one, we were just making marks on a page, and then afterwards we just go through it and try to create some shapes and things out of it. So this piece to me looks like a hummingbird diving, so I just drew in a bird, and then this one kind of looks like a shark, so I tried to make it into a shark. And it was just choosing different elements of the marks that I made and turning those small elements into a piece. And I really enjoyed doing something like this. Maybe I will do it again, but not with graphite. I'll try to use something else, like another medium. And this one, when I first made it, I didn't like it, but now that I'm looking at it, I love it so much, because to me it looks like mixed media. Well, it kind of is, even though it's only different types of pencils and charcoal, but it's just very interesting. And it was supposed to draw a tree, and then from that tree just doodle and do whatever comes to mind. So my abstract tree here, and I actually really like it now that I'm looking at it, though I don't really like the top bit because I feel like there was something that could have been added there, but at the time that is just what I created. So yeah, but those are all the last pieces that I did for the drawing section. So here's a little flip through of my sketchbook drawings. So these were the right brain exercises that I did. These were the first things that I ever did on the course. It was right brain exercises, and I loved how those turned out, and want to create loads more and just color them in, because how fun it does paper look when it's crunched up. This especially looks like a piece of paper. And then I've got different lines, and I just had to draw different shapes and see if I can draw circles and ovals and holding the pencil correctly when I'm making big pieces. Then here I had to draw lips and nose, drawing it with the correct kind of shapes, and these all came from my head, which I actually love knowing how to do, is just drawing like different shapes and then being able to create something from it. And then these are some foreshortening examples, ideas that I did. I really like this one and this one as well. They could do with more work, but these are just like quick sketches, so. And I still have to stick this in, but these were learning different shadows, and I used this side of the paper to come up with my ideas as I was listening to a song, and these were like the ideas that the song reminded me of, so then I put it into this piece here. Then I looked in the mirror and tried to draw my nose, my lips and my eye, and this was the smaller sketch that I did, this smaller self-portrait that I did by looking at myself in the mirror. I made myself super chubby. My cheeks are so chubby in this, but it still looks like me. I did it within like 40 minutes or so, so that's probably why. But if I spent more time on it, I could have really got it looking a lot better. Then I drew this gorgeous tiger with China marker and chalk, and I just used my finger to smudge bits. I just like how abstract it looks, and one of the mentors actually said it looks like it's just come out from water or something, and I just thought that was so beautiful. I just think this is a stunning piece, and I enjoyed making it, and I'll probably do another one of these as well, because I actually like drawing with whites on a black piece. And then this is Jim Carrey pointing. This is a foreshortening piece. The face doesn't look exactly like him, which is annoying to me, but the main goal of it was to be able to use foreshortening correctly, and I know how to foreshorten. I love this finger, like this whole hand looks so good to me. So yeah, definitely so much improvement. So those are all of the drawings that I did for this first section of the mastery program. I will do another review of when each section of the course is completed, then I will do that again, showing everything that I made and just reviewing my whole progress throughout that section. I actually started off not enjoying drawing and only enjoying oils, and then by the end of it I actually enjoyed drawing more than I enjoyed painting, which is kind of crazy how that happened. And I definitely love drawing, and it's something that I will obviously continue within my everyday life because it's just so fun and you can do anything with it. And now that I know that I can draw anything, it just opens up the whole world of possibilities of what I can create. And now that I have the skills to do it, or I have the techniques that I can continue to practice and get better at until I master them. And I know which sections that I enjoy more. I know what types of materials, drawing materials that I enjoy more. I know what techniques I enjoy more and subject matter. So that just makes everything so much easier going on to the next part of the course. Now that I have those kind of techniques and I know what things I like to use, then now the next part of the course is about refining those and merging them together to create my own kind of process moving forward. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a massive thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in another video. Bye.
You